In this video, we're going to create a fabrication panel in CAM350. This applies to version 14 and later, as the interface has changed quite a bit from earlier versions of CAM350. But the process remains very similar. Key to creating a panel is to have the border of the PCB defined. Now, often it's on a separate layer, as in this case, or it may be on one of the other layers in your design. We have a tool that will create the border from this border layer, because the reality is the border is in the center of this outline. Under the Tools ribbon and Draw Objects, we have a Draw to Board Outline option. You simply click on the drawn board outline, right-click to complete the command, and click OK, and it will actually create the true board outline. We use this several places throughout CAM350, including the panel editor and DFM DRC. So it's important to do this when you are loading Gerber and NC. Intelligent data formats already have this built into them. From here, we're going into the panel editor, and we will simply work left to right, starting with panel setup. The panel editor gives you the ability to save off panels and reuse those. We do have a lower end version called the Fast Array module, which does not allow this. But for fabrication panels, you're typically dealing with set sizes, and you may have those listed here in your panel definitions with some commonly used tooling, coupons, fiducials, drills already defined in your panel. In this case, we're going to start from scratch. We're going to use a standard PCB panel size of 18 by 24. Let's put some spacing between the boards and maybe a 1-inch border around the edge. In the panel editor, you do have the option of adding coupons, pinning holes, fiducials, title blocks to your panel, and again, saving those off to be reused. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a coupon. I need to specify where I want that coupon, and I can either use absolute or relative to do that. Let's make it quicker here by using relative, and we'll just put it at the center of the left-hand side, and then let's bring it in a 1/2 inch. You get a preview of that. Let's add another one just so we have some more options. We'll use a drill check coupon here. And let's put this over on the other side of our panel. So we'll put this on the right center. And of course we'll rotate it so it doesn't go into the board area. And let's again offset that in the x-axis. I can add other things like pinning holes. Choose where I want to add these. Now, normally you would have multiples of these, but just for brevity here, I'm just going to add one just so we get an idea. And let's do this at the left top, and maybe we'll bring it in 0.25 in both axes. Okay, again, we get a preview of that. So now that we've added our various types of coupons, pinning holes, and so forth, we are going to go ahead and create our panel. Now CAM350 will look at that border that we defined and see how many boards will fit in the defined area of the panel. And we can try different rotations to see if we can get more up. This board looks pretty rectangular, so it looks like we get the same number of images whether we do a rotation or not. In some cases, you will get more with one rotation or another. We do have a spreadsheet mode. If you want to modify any of the boards, if you want to move their locations, you can do it in this spreadsheet mode, and you can even just define boards manually where they go in your panel with this spreadsheet mode. Once we're happy with this, we hit OK, and it's going to go ahead and create our panel. Now these coupons that we added in tooling holes are intelligent in that in our symbol editor the user can define which layers they go on. So you may have something different on a top layer, for instance, than you would on a drill layer, and you can see how they've populated based off that information. You could even have different information on each of your internal layers for a particular coupon. Maybe different trace widths or different clearances or plane type of connections versus signal layer types of connections. All of these can be defined when you create the symbol in the symbol editor, which is covered under another video. If you want to look at all of your data, you can, or in this case I'm just going to turn on the top and bottom layers, and we're going to go to the next step, which is to add venting to our panel. Now this could either be thieving or venting depending on whether we're adding it to an outer layer. We're going to start off with a robber bar. So we're going to add a vent pattern. It's going to be a robber bar, and since we added 1 inch all the way around, we'll go ahead and do the same here. If you don't like working in mils, you can switch it over to inches or millimeters, up to you. And then you choose which layers that you want to add it to, and we're going to add it to our 2 outer layers here. And then hit apply, and it'll go ahead and add that pattern. We can also add things like thieving or venting patterns to the panel. So we have a secondary pattern now, and instead of a solid, we're going to add a dot pattern. We can adjust, what feature, what this dot looks like. It could be squares, or it can be round, or it can be, I've seen triangles before. And then the pattern itself can be created over here with offsets. And then we choose which layers that we want those to go on. I'm just going to simply add them again to my outermost layers here. And now we get that pattern on our design. And we may add to our internal signals a similar pattern. And we can define which layers get that. Once again, we can hit apply, and it will add it to those layers. We can even use an offset if you want each odd or even layer to be offset from each other. Now this pattern at this point is live in that it's something that if I want to move something, I can just simply grab it. And of course I would do this probably with the absolute coordinates here, but I just wanted to show this to you, so I'm just going to do it freehand, and it actually readjusts the venting pattern, or in this case the robber bar, based off of the keep outs that you have defined. And this can be done again to either the robber bar or the venting patterns, and it can be done to the outer layers or the inner layers. Once you're happy with the creation of your panel, then your options are to export your panel. We do give you the options of doing it as Gerber and NC, or as ODB or 2581 data. We also give you the options to scale the panel as you output it, and you can scale some items and not scale other items. Also mirror and negate are options as well. Once you've filled out these options, apply to path, then you can simply export the selected items. Again, in this case, Gerber data, if I'm doing my drill layers, NC data. If I'm doing a mill layer, again, NC data, or combine them all into ODB++ or IPC 2581.